to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Philadelphia and I review books and I read about every genre under the sun, so it's always something new. Today I'm going to review a YA book and it's called Shadow and Bones and it's the first in the trilogy. I've been reading more YA lately and I just don't know if it's the genre for me or I just need to find the right one. Because they all seem pretty similar. They all follow the same plot, writing, character dynamic. This one I will review and let you know how I feel. Shadow and Bones is the first in the trilogy, and it is a YA fantasy novel, and it is about, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce her name right. I think her name's Elena. I think that's how you pronounce it. Elena is an orphan. She grew up in this orphanage with her friend Mal, and they grow up together, and then they go off to work in this military environment, and they have this mission to cross the Fold. The Fold is dangerous terrain. It's created by dark magic, I believe. So that's kind of where the story begins, and something happens in the Fold, and Elena discovers some mysterious powers that saved her life in Mal's. And so the book kind of just carries on with that, and you kind of see the new life trajectory that Elena gets put on because of what happens in the Fold, and then it just kind of follows along with a typical YA novel. If you haven't read the book, I would pause here because I don't want to spoil anything for you. But this book kind of hits all the YA tropes. I didn't think it had anything that special in the book that made it stand out. I mean, it was pretty generic. The plot, you see a lot in these novels. You know, you have this ugly duckling type timid girl discovers herself and finds out that she's actually unique and awesome, and then she gets tangled in a mess of a love triangle while trying to overthrow some terrible, powerful entity. So in my mind, it didn't offer anything new to the genre, really. I went into this book with low expectations just because I'm not a big YA fantasy reader. I did find this book enjoyable to read. It offered a sense of escapism with this fantasy world that the author creates. The characters were pretty typical of what you see in a YA novel. I have more cons with this book than pros for sure, and that's why I know a lot of people love this book, so maybe it's just not my cup of tea, really. My biggest hang-up was during a lot of the book, I felt like nothing was really happening. It was just kind of like in this limbo, stagnant state, and I'm like, why are we spending so much time on these little details? There were some cool things that I wish were more elaborated on. It's kind of a pro and a con. I like that this book kind of had a Russian atmosphere vibe to it. I thought the words were hard to grasp in this book, like her naming for things. Just because it had kind of a Russian influence, it was really hard for me to remember all the weird words because I just wasn't used to seeing them. I think the worst thing this book has going for it was when I finished this book, I didn't have the urge to immediately pick up the sequel. So I think that is kind of where I enjoyed the book, but at the same time, I wasn't like inspired to just go and get the next one. It didn't excite me. And I think I just wasn't really inspired by the main character, Elena. I found her to be kind of irritating, and I couldn't relate to her because all of her motivations, it seemed like, always went back to a man's opinion. She was only motivated by some male element, whether it be the Darkling or Mal. She wasn't very independent and wasn't very confident in her own thought, and she lacked ambition for herself almost. And that falls into the YA trope, like they always need a man and they have to be the damsel in distress almost, it seems like, with a lot of them. For me, I still haven't decided if I should try book 2, but everything I read, people don't like book 2, so I'm just like, should I just cut my losses here? I don't know. So let me know if you have read the series, if you think I I should keep going with it because I'm still undecided. Or if you could suggest to me a YA novel that I should really try that doesn't fall under the standard YA trope, something that's a little unique in the genre, I would love to know your recommendations because I don't want to give up on this genre quite yet. I still believe that there could be a really good book out there. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this. I wish I loved this book more. The more time I take away from this book, it's been about a week or so since I've closed it, is the more I start forgetting it. It just didn't stay with me and it wasn't rememberable to me. I had to go back and look up the main character's name. So that kind of speaks a lot for me of how I feel about the book overall, is if I can't remember the main character after a week, I don't know if it's a book meant for me. When I closed the book, I was hesitant on giving it a 4 because I was like, well, maybe it's good for the genre. But now that I have spent some time away from the book, I'm giving it a 3. I'm taking back a star because I couldn't remember the main character's name. It just wasn't lasting. It didn't leave a lasting impression in my brain. And I think it's really sad that with fantasy, you have so much runway to go crazy with. And a lot of these ideas are just repetitive in other books. And I just wanted to see something new brought to the table. And I didn't really see that. So anyway, that is my review for Shadow and Bones. I hope you enjoyed watching. And please comment below and let me know some of your YA fantasy recommendations so I can maybe get steered into the right direction in this genre. If you like the video, please hit that little like button and remember to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more book reviews. And thank you for watching. My name is Philadelphia, and please go find me on Instagram or Goodreads. My handle is Philly Hewitt, and I'll put that down below so you can see the spelling. And I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.